Welcome to the Online Success Journey Podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey Podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 86. Are you ready to join the clan? Today we have Ahmed Khalifa, the founder and the director of IgniteRock, where he helps entrepreneurs and small businesses to maximize the potential of their WordPress site to grow their online visibility. Hello Ahmed.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good. I know the clan is anxious to hear your story, so let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my clan a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your online business? Take us right up to the last job or business before you are online.
Okay, so I've never really thought I'd be doing it, but back when I was in university, I always thought I would be getting into the sports marketing industry. Along the way, I just started working for a local company, managing their website and their eBay site and their Amazon account and stuff like that, and gradually got into the idea of working for an online business. And as the years progressed, I have then moved from one job to another, from in Glasgow to Berlin to London, and I have even worked for a high street fashion chain, mainly to be in charge of search engine optimization or SEO. So that's kind of what I mainly cover in terms of an online business. I help people to, increase their visibility, get more traffic, get more engagement, encourage conversion. And that's kind of how my career flourished, really, because it was all in digital marketing. And really, in the last year, well, actually this time last year, I have decided to start my own business. And the reason I wanted to do it this way because I wanted to help local businesses more. And I'm also very passionate about WordPress, and I'm involved with the WordPress community quite heavily. And it's something that I'm really, really, keen to be involved in more. So combining, the interest in WordPress with digital marketing, I thought, I'm going to help businesses with WordPress sites to grow their visibility. So, that was this time last year. And so it's been a year now since I have been running IgniteRock, and it's been a great year so far.
Wow, what a journey, Ahmed. Okay, what is the most dangerous belief an online entrepreneur can have?
I guess people kind of underestimate how important it is. I mean, even going back from the very, very beginning, they underestimate how important your website can be. And it's all well and good that if you have a brick and mortar business and you work in a high street and stuff like that, you think that I have all the customers I need and I'll be okay with that. But I think people underestimate the importance of having, a website and building that website, even if it's just to become more visible online, even to get your brand out there and get more attention. You don't have to sell, at the beginning. People don't realize that it's a crucial part of your business. And I think anybody who doesn't have a website, or anybody who doesn't kind of really take their website very seriously, I think they'll be left behind by a competitor, and they'll lose a lot of potential customers, whether you're local, internationally, or global. And I think that's one thing that people really should be aware of, that you need to utilize your website as much as you can. It can almost make or break your business, essentially.
Why do you do what you do?
I guess it kind of came to me. So one, I started playing with websites and getting interested into, WordPress and understanding how it works. It kind of really made me more curious. And I just started tinkering and playing and breaking and fixing all these things to learn more and more and more. I just got excited by what you can do with website full stop. And I think the fact that our lives now revolve around our mobile phone and being online and, digital kind of experience, it kind of made me even more excited about the potential that you can do with being online and what's, to come in the future. So I'm lucky that what I do is always in demand and it's going to get more and more exciting. And that made me even more excited to kind of build my business really, because I know there's a lot more to come in the long term.
Okay. Let's put man aside. How did you know your business was successful?
I guess it's because as soon as people started hearing that I have decided to start my business, I started to get interest quite quickly. And it's mainly from my network and the community and stuff like that. I realized that people actually really do need my help. And that's kind of a very good kind of minimal viable product. There's kind of a demand out there. And I thought I'll go for it. So the fact that people have requested for my help and I've been helping with their site and working with them and kind of build from there, and the fact that I'm kind of always in demand, it made me realize that my business has a potential to grow. And although I have been lucky enough to be in profit since I started, it's obviously a sign of success. But I think the fact that there's demand out there and I get inquiries or questions or leads or even people just want to talk to me, I realize that this, is a kind of a successful start to my business anyway.
Why local business? Why not global?
I have been working with a variety of companies, local and national and global. And they all have different pros and cons. They all have different kind of challenges and excitement and all these things. And I don't have any problem with working with any of them because they can bring its own challenges. I guess I realize more and more that I get more excited with the local businesses, whether it's in my area where I live in Edinburgh, or it could be local in Scotland, or it could be in the UK. But I realize that I get more and more excited about helping these local business, independent business, or as they call it, the moms and pops businesses and all these things. It got me very, very excited. And that's why I wanted to focus on helping them, especially because they don't tend to have, millions of pounds of, available to invest. So, they should not be neglected. I want to help them as much as I can so that they can also be successful with their own business.
I know you help local businesses. Can you take on the newly person who's started their business there from the beginning? They don't know anything about the website. Can you take on those ones, or do you take already established?
It can be a combination of both, because sometimes there are businesses out there that kind of have a website, but they don't know how to get to the next step. And, that's where I come in. At the same time, there are businesses out there that's a bit more established and they have a presence, but again, they just want to get to that next step. And that's the thing when you have a website or your online business, is that you want to, move to the next step. And a lot of businesses kind of struggle with that. It's not their fault because they kind of focus on their own expertise. But they don't realize that, to move to the next level, sometimes you need just a bit of guidance and, hand-holding in a sense to show you what you can do to kind of move to that next level. So I guess, even if you have a brand new site, I can help you along the way. I don't necessarily design and develop it, but I can help you to provide that foundation, make sure it's set so that when you want to grow, you'll have a kind of a scalable, kind of like how can I describe it? Just a very scalable way of growing instead of just up and down like a roller coaster dramatically.
I know you mentioned about the newcomers. They don't have always a lot of money to invest in their website or in their business. So now you work with these local ones, the newbies and the established one. What is your charges if we want to know you and contact you? What do you charge?
Well, on my own, my business, obviously on IgniteRock.com, what I do is it's a combination of, in a broader sense, there's SEO, there's content, there's analytics, and there's conversion, and they all kind of play alongside each other. So, basically it's all about getting more visibility on Google. It's all about making sure that your Google Analytics data is accurate and set up correctly, and understanding the audience is quite important. It's also important to understand how your audience and your visitors are engaging with your website, and how to make it easier for them. And obviously, if you make it easier for them, how are they converting? Is it easy enough for them to convert, which could be to buy your product, or could be subscribe to your newsletter, or so on and so forth? Is it easier for them? If it's not, then we have to think of a way to make it easier for your audience to kind of convert on your website, because you never know what you're doing online that is kind of preventing people from essentially purchasing your products or service.
Can anyone be an entrepreneur, or some people more cut out for it than others?
I think anyone can be an entrepreneur. It's because I think everyone has something that they can give to someone that doesn't have it. So everyone has some kind of talent or skill or knowledge, and the way they give it, the way they interpret it, the way they provide it as a service or product is unique. Nobody can copy your style. At the same time, I think it's very, very important to have, patience and discipline to be an entrepreneur, because you're on your own most of the time. And if you are not disciplined enough to get things done and get moving forward with what you have to do, then you're going to be left behind, and you're not going to really build your business. In regards to patience, if you don't have that patience inside you, and you're expecting an overnight success, or anything a week or a month, it's very, very rare for that to happen. And if you're not willing to keep building and building after years and years and years, then I don't think building your own business or entrepreneurship, especially if you want to do it full time, it's not for you if you don't think you have the discipline and patience to kind of build and grow your business.
Okay, Ahmed, how long can we have patience and discipline? Shall we have it for 6 months, a year, or 3 months? How long can we test this patience?
Oh, I mean, I guess every industry is different, and every business, and also, what is your success metrics? What does success look like for you? But there's definitely not a perfect number. There's no right or wrong way of saying, like, is it 1 year or 2 years or 5 years? There's definitely not like the perfect answer. But what I would say is you need to give it a minimum of 1 to 2 years, I think, in my opinion. If you build it from scratch, and you give it a year or 2 years, and you push it and you drive and you work for it, and you kind of invest in tweaking, twisting, and all these little things that happen in running a business, if you keep doing that consistently over a year or two, and you've seen progress, whether it's income or whether it's maybe your metric is that you want more time for your family or whatever, if you've seen that happen, then you could maybe think that your business is going to be more successful than you originally thought. So I definitely think that it should be at least 1 to 2 years, and then you see where you are from that point. And if you think you can grow on further, then go for it.
Okay, so a minimum of 1 to 2 years. Others they think, okay, I'm going to quit my job, start the online business, and then I'll start making money. What advice do you give to those ones?
Well, what I would say is that I wouldn't necessarily quit your job immediately. So the way I did it is two ways of looking at it, actually. I have been working in a full-time job, 9 to 5, for about 7, 8 years, something like that, until I decided to start my own business. I built up that knowledge, I built up that experience, and built up a skill from these jobs, from working in different organizations, and from trial and experiment and doing different things that that comes with a job. Near the end of my full-time job career, if you like, when I had that desire to start my own business, I looked into it more on the side. And as I start to look into it more on the side, and I start building it and start testing the market to see if anyone's interested, then I realized I may have something there. So I started my business even when I had a job. So when I realized that, you know what, I could do something with this and I need to devote it full time on it, then I planned it correctly. I quit my job and then my business is there waiting for me. And I think it's a better advice for me to do that instead of saying, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to quit the job. I think you should just test what you want to do first at a small scale, even as a side hustle, and see where that takes you. And then you can decide later whether it's time to quit your job or not.
Okay. What is the most valuable thing your mentor has told you? Or you don't have a mentor?
I don't have a mentor, but I think there's a lot of talk about. I think it's what I said earlier. Actually, it's about having that patience, because I think people think that the word of being an entrepreneur is quite glamorous. You see on online or Instagram or social media, Facebook, whatever. You see that people are working on the beach, or you have time to do anything, as much as you want to go travel and so on and so forth. And I think there's a lot of perception that the word of being an entrepreneur is quite glamorous. Now, it obviously has its benefit, but there is a lot of kind of things that you don't see in the background, which is the grinding, the working late at night, the time that you don't go out to see your friend at a social night because you have to do some work, so on and so forth. So the best advice that I've seen, I can't remember who it was, is that success is not what everyone thinks is. Well, I'll rephrase that actually. People think that they only see the successful side of life, which is the freedom and the lifestyle and the potentially money. But underneath all that, there is so much going on in the background that nobody sees. So don't expect that what you see, in terms of how other people live their life as an entrepreneur, don't expect that to be true, because there's so many things going on in the background that is to be created and that needs to be happening before you can even reach to that level. So at the end of the day, if you're starting, never ever compare yourself to someone who is in the middle of a journey or near the end of a journey. You are at the beginning. So focus on that phase first before you get too far ahead of yourself.
Wow. Okay. What is the most valuable thing you have ever given away?
My time, I think. Because sometimes people think that I have to, charge for every single second, or, bill for every time I have, or for any service that I give away for free, whatever. But I think, sometimes you have to think about helping others, and you give your time, you give your knowledge to other people, and you keep giving. And I realize when I keep doing that, the person who's receiving it is seeing it as a very, very valuable thing. And it may not look like it's very valuable to you, but I think the other person can appreciate it. They see that this is such a valuable thing that you have told me, that I'm going to apply it to my business, and hopefully it will work. And it's quite a very nice thing to see and hear when people appreciate that what you're giving them is so valuable to them, and it will help them with their own business if they want to grow.
What is one thing no one knows about you?
Something that no one knows about me. Oh, that's a tricky question.
It could be a business or a personal.
I guess people don't realize how many times I have moved to different cities, countries, or jobs so that I can progress, so that I can grow as a person, so I can get more experience and knowledge. There has been quite a lot of movement, even the past 13, 14 years, from university to what I am. I have lived in dozens of different flats and houses in different countries. But that's all because it's part of my journey from going from student to working to getting another job to getting a full-time business. And not a lot of people realize that in the background, I have moved so many times in my lifetime just to get to where I am today. So I think it's one of these things that, again, you don't see what goes on behind the scene, and that is what is happening behind the scene. It's still going right now. I'm still always on the move, but there's always something going on behind the scene, whether it's from 14 years ago or now. I keep going and going and going and going, and I just don't stop. So people don't realize that when they look at you from a front. So until they get to know you on a deeper level, then they can see it more.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
Definitely, I would say my career, my jobs. If it wasn't for that, as I mentioned earlier, I wouldn't be where I am today. I have tested and dabbled with the idea of having my own business at the very, very beginning of my career, and I realized at that time I was out of my depth. I didn't know as much as I thought I do, and I decided to not bother with it. So even though I invested time and money to have a website and start building my products and services, I realized that it was out of my depth. So working in my career, working in these jobs in different positions in different countries, it has definitely helped to shape who I am today. And so if it wasn't for these experiences, I wouldn't have that available right now, and I wouldn't be able to use that in my own business. I wouldn't be able to use that with my own clients either.
Okay, let's talk about your business. Why WordPress?
It's a very powerful CMS, or content management system. I think people don't understand that almost a third of the World Wide Web is powered by WordPress, which is we're talking millions. And people don't realize that it's such a powerful platform that you can really do so much more than just have a website or just have a blog. You can really build your online presence with WordPress and with other CMS. But I just like the fact that WordPress has such a big supportive community, and it's open source, meaning that everyone can contribute to the system. It has such a big supportive community that if you're stuck with anything, there's always someone that can help you. If you're stuck, if you want to create a function that you want to add something to your website, it's very, very easy to do that. If you want to, add like a social media share icons and stuff like that, you can do that yourself. There will be times where you need some kind of expert help, someone who has more of a technical background. But the benefit of WordPress is that there's a lot of things that you can do on your own, and now and then you can get other people to contribute and help you with your website as well. So I just like the fact that it's a very big supportive community, and every time I have been looking for help from someone in the community or in meetup groups or whatever, they have always happy to help. And even vice versa, I try to help other people whenever I can with their own WordPress site, and that is kind of the ethos of how WordPress work. It just, you help each other, so I quite like that.
Okay, give us 2 tips or 3 tips of your best of WordPress for newbies or people who have not used it.
Okay, well, one thing, there's so many different plugins that you could use. I think there's almost 50,000 or more than that now, actually, plugins available. And there are so many different ones. And I guess, to go with the popular ones, for example, Yoast, Yoast. Most people use Yoast or any other plugin that will help you with your SEO. Make sure every time you write a page, a new post, or even existing page and post on your site, make sure you fill in the section at the bottom where it is called SEO title or the page title or that kind of names around that, and the meta description. People don't realize that if you fill these sections in, it will help you. One, will help you improve your visibility on the likes of Google, and the other thing is, if you fill it in, you are more likely to encourage people to click on your link when they see you on Google. But if you leave it blank or as default, it will look kind of messy on Google. And many people don't realize that if you fill it in manually yourself, it can have a lot of benefit with getting more traffic to your page or post on WordPress. So that would definitely be one of my tips. The other tip I would say is that if you have a website, you need a blog, and if you have a blog already, you need to be publishing as consistently as you can, and that could be, daily, which would be hard work. It could be daily, it could be weekly or fortnightly, whatever it is. Be consistent with your content. If you have a blog and then you just writing a couple of hundred words which doesn't add any value to your audience, then you really need to think about how should you be writing your content. So when you write a blog post or any kind of content around that, it could be video, it could be podcast, it could be anything. Think about how to make it useful, informative, and valuable for the audience. And it's not just about talking about yourself, about we have this, buy this, or make sure you check this out. You need to add value to whoever is arriving on your site, especially if they want to see your blog post. Each blog post must need to have some kind of value for your audience.
So how many words should we look at? Now we are new to blogging, so how many words should we look at?
How many words do you look at?
In order to make a value.
I guess what you should do is you look at how people in your industry are writing their content. How are they doing it? Because some people think that, okay, I need to be doing it every single day, or at least, but it's really, really hard work and it's not possible, especially if you don't have the resources. What I would say is that look at how other people are doing it and see whether they are writing that quality, and is it feasible? Can you do the same thing? If it's not, how can you do it in your own way, in your own style, that your audience will appreciate? Because it's not just about copying other people. I wouldn't say you should copy. You should maybe get inspirations or ideas, but it's not about copying other people. It's just that you need to find your own technique and your own style and your own system that works for you and that also works for your audience as well. So it's very difficult to say like how many exactly you should post and publish and stuff like that. But consistency is really, really important. So if you think that you want to do it once a week, then choose a day, and that day, every single week, you're going to publish something.
Wow. Okay, let's say I hire you to work with you for IgniteRock. What should I be expecting from IgniteRock?
Well, one thing that I would be very keen to know is I would want as much information and data as possible. So I would be asking you questions about your business and how it works, how it operates, how long you've been doing it, understand more about your customers and what are they like, who are they, and how are they interacting with your website. At the same time, I'd be requiring information about your website performance. Most of the time, it's Google Analytics. And again, this is just all gathering information, gathering data. And the idea is, with all of that, I want to have a really good idea of where you are right now and what can I do to move you to that next level. Because every time someone comes in and say, I need this, for example, I need to focus more on Instagram, for example. I say, okay, give me your idea. What do you want to do? Why do you want to focus on that? And, is there something that I can help you with? But after talking to them, sometimes they don't realize that they actually need something else, maybe something more on the website, like maybe improve their blog post content, or maybe they need to think about how their audience is converting. So what I would do with anybody who I work with is I would gather as much information as possible. So I'd be speaking to you, emailing you, I'd be asking for, data about your website so that I can make the best decision possible that will help your website. Because I don't want to assume from straight away that I know the answer to everything. Because your contribution is as important as my contribution to you. It's a two-way party, two-way street kind of thing. So I would definitely expect that we would work together as a team and learn about each other's style and technique and learn about each other's business so that ultimately I want to help with your business.
Will I be working direct to you or your employees?
It'd be directly with me, and I'm the guy who kind of does everything, with my hand, and I think this is what I have to tell people, that I'm not going to be passing on to anyone. It's me you are dealing with, and I will be doing everything by hand, and that's what people want. I think at the end of the day, because they want to work with me, not they want to work through me. So I always make it clear that nope, I am your guy. You be talking to me, and I'll do everything for you.
Wow. Okay. Once we have talked, you know what I want. What do I expect? Should I put I should see visibility or improvement within 3 months or 6 months? What is the timeline here?
Well, I guess it depends what you want. Because, for example, in terms of, if you want more traffic and visibility, and, that requires, SEO and content and, content marketing as well, all these things. These are all long-term projects. Now, there might be small, quick wins here and there that can give you a little boost, in visibility in Google, for example. But it's a long-term project, and it's, I always make sure that they understand that you're not going to see a result today, tomorrow, next week, next month, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months. It's an ongoing thing. And that ongoing thing will happen only if it's consistently being worked on again and again and again and again. So it's all a long-term project. Anything related to SEO and content, I would say, okay, you look at it over the past year, see what has worked, see what didn't work, but you should also expect to see some movement in the right direction after a year. At the same time, there will be things that, you could get quick wins. So, for example, if you want to do some testing on your site about conversion, maybe there is if you change the design of a button with the wording and the color and all these things, maybe a small tweak can improve conversion by X%, 5%, 10%, who knows. These could be shorter, because if you have a website which is getting some traffic and I do some testing to see which convert better, you could see a result maybe after 4 weeks that this test has worked, because this version A works better than version B. After 4 weeks, we can see the data. Let's implement version A. That's the result. And then from then on, you keep building and building and building. So really, it does depend on what project you are looking for. But ultimately, it's a long-term goal. That's the main thing that I emphasize, is that don't expect quick wins. Don't expect anything that will happen overnight. It will never happen. I can promise you that.
Wow. Where do we find all your information and how to get in contact with you?
Well, if you ever want to get in touch with me, and my website is igniterock.com. If you want to connect with me on social media, I am on Instagram or Twitter, and the handles for both of them is I am Ahmed Khalifa.
Okay, so Clan, there will be more from Ahmed in a moment. If you are finding Ahmed's journey interesting and you are ready to hear more, come and listen to the full version of the interview at onlinesuccessjourney.com. If you are on Online Success Journey already, click on part 2 of Ahmed's journey and you'll get lots of more information to help you with your WordPress and how to get visibility in the marketing and in social media. And don't forget, you can also access our Online Success Journey interview podcast on the site as well. That's a wrap, Clan. Remember, success is a journey. Patience and Ahmed.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com, filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the online success journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.